today banks cannot think truly innovative. It's very hard for them to think about completely digital distribution. The idea of an iPad is very foreign to a bank, and they don't really know how to bring that into their ecosystem. So it's actually a cultural thing, I think, is their biggest challenge, is how do they bring the right creativity into the organisation while still maintaining their core business of protecting consumers' money. Definitely one of the biggest risks to the future of the banking industry. But it's also an opportunity for innovators like myself to say, okay, we're going to start businesses from scratch that don't have that legacy. Like PayPal did and like Dawala and Square did, is that an opportunity to start a bank with a clean slate. And that's the biggest threat to a bank, is that they could be essentially disrupted by other innovators. In the last 4 or 5 years, a lot of bricks and mortar distribution businesses have gone out of business through digital disintermediation. For instance, Borders. Borders has just recently gone belly up and closed all their shops around the world because Amazon's a better bookseller. The digital experience has been far superior to going to a physical bookstore. Blockbuster was the same. The distribution of movies in a physical media has shut down because iTunes and Netflix and other digital distribution models now have become more prominent than going to your local video store. So I think the same amount of disintermediation is going to happen to the banks. I don't think they can move fast enough to catch up with that. And that's essentially why we're building Movenbank. Movenbank is a digital-only bank, with its aim of completely bypassing all the legacy that requires bricks and mortar to actually distribute a financial product. But the other trend, which is not far behind mobile, is that of, the buzzword is big data. Big data is essentially how do you take in large amounts of data from the world's ecosystem to actually optimize the experience for the consumer. One of the examples that I continually give is that if you go to any bank's website, they essentially a newspaper. It is a broadcasting platform that tries to cater for every single one of their audiences, all on one page, which is quite frustrating for a student, for instance. A student is not interested in being an investor, they're not interested in retirement products or wealth management products and so forth. They want the bank to actually create an experience that demonstrates a level of understanding of the consumer. And all that essentially is driven by a huge amount of data analytics in the background, which tailor the user experience in a way, or contextualize the user experience in a way that it makes it very relevant for the consumer. So I actually think, while big data is the word, I think relevance or contextualization is the other theme which banks really need to start thinking about. Next Bank Asia is exciting for me because it broadens the audience. It also brings in venture capitalists, startup people, the design community, the people that are really changing user experience in banking. One of the things that's missing in banking is that fringe kind of network which allows people to really push the envelope. Silicon Valley, particularly San Francisco, has a very good community for doing that. I think there's an opportunity now for a similar community to be developed in Asia, and I think Next Bank Asia is a good opportunity to make that happen.